Chris Gore here at the Academy Museum in Los Angeles, California, to remind you of Film Threat's annual Oscar watch party on Sunday, March 15th. Watch the Oscars along with us on your iPad or mobile device, whatever. Listen to us as we roast the Oscars. We'll hear celebrities tell us what opinions we should have. Join me and a whole bunch of your favorite YouTube stars as we watch the Oscars together. I guarantee the Oscars will be boring, but not if you watch along with Film Threat. I'm going to get out of here. I'm tired, boss, but it's Friday and we've got films to review. Let's see, The Bride by Maggie Gyllenhaal, PIXAR'S Hoppers, and a few more films and opinions that I have an opinion about a film that you're not is going to get me in trouble. I guarantee it. Plus, filmmaker Paul Osborne for his movie Fluorescent Beast. I need more coffee. Let's start the show. And someone special, very special, is here to intro Alan.
Alan, I've been looking for you myself. Alan.
Oh, how appropriate.
Hey, it's perfect because you're reviewing a Disney Pixar movie.
Yes. Well, we are, but
we're
I know
both. Yeah, we're both.
I know you've seen it as well.
Yes, I've seen it. We did a quick out of the theater review. That's kind of rare when we're together that we can do that. It's kind of fun. But now we get to do our full review. I don't know that we were very excited about this. You don't look excited.
I mean, look, think about the history of Pixar.
And where we are.
The movie, yeah, where we are now. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's say hi to everybody before we start. We also have some big trailers that dropped. So here we go.
All right, let's do this. Bill S. Preston Esquire. On time. What sorcery is this?
Yes. Yeah, well, we take our job seriously. We take it very seriously. And as mentioned in the little promo at the beginning of the show, we have our Film Threat Oscar watch party on Sunday, March 15th. So join us then. And hey,
Valiant Renegade VR. Hey, for two. Chris's bed called, wants his hair back.
Well, yes, I have bedhead. People ask, what product do I use? I'm like, I just shower before bed, and then I wake up like this. It's cheaper than product. But thank you, Valiant. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Also,
and if you ever consider moving your show to not Sunday, maybe I come on.
Yeah, I try to log off on weekends. But yay, go to shop.filmthreat.com. We've got Project Film Threat shirts. I will have mine in time for when the movie comes out. Some new other shirts, Doomsday Duds, and our Award This shirts, perfect for the Oscars. Get yourself the Oscars can suck it hat or shirt. It's perfect for Oscar. And what does Lord Thoth have to say?
Well, he says, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on X, Discord, and Rumble and Instagram. Buy our merch at shop.filmthreat.com.
And he says TGIFT. Thank God it's Film Threat.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord Thoth. Appreciate you.
I'm just saying, I wish StreamYard would enlarge these letters so I can read. Lord Comment for two. Good morning, Chris Gore and Alan. My birthday is tomorrow, turning 51. Hey, young man.
Well, happy early birthday to you, Lord Comet. Welcome to the club.
Yeah, I wish I was turning 51.
Yeah, same. So Lord Comet, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Have a great birthday. Go out, have a drink on yourself, actually. If I was there, I'd buy you one. As long as it's $2. So there you go. Alan, are you a fan of The Boys TV series?
I was the first season.
The first season of The Boys was great. It's been diminishing returns and frustration. I, though, have stuck with it. The main reason is I really love the characters. Butcher, Huey, I like that dynamic. It's gone off the rails in these finals, like last season, season 4, off the rails, but it gets worse and worse. The final season trailer is here. It's season 5. I believe it's out in April. We have a trailer. I haven't even seen it yet. So I'm going to experience this with you. Are you ready for it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. The Boys season 5.
Okay.
My power is absolute. At heights no one's even dreamed of. But I have a bigger destiny.
Oh, you see, sort of equating him with Jesus and the American flag and ultimate power.
Oh, praise be. And what is it?
All right, let's get to work, yeah? We think that Homelander is looking for the V1.
It's Thought's first iteration of Compound V. If Homelander got his hands on some, he'd be immortal.
We need to run while we can, however we can.
No, we hit him with the virus while it still works and kill every fucking suit on the planet.
I need you, Father.
Did you fuck me?
What?
Just some kind of incest thing?
No.
Then what the fuck is this?
We need to prepare America for my ascension.
You want a boss now? Well, if you can't beat him, join him. Then fuck it, beat him.
This is our last chance. The only thing we have left is hope.
It's beta male shit, bro. War, am I right?
Those who seek to destroy me, the non-believers and backstabbers, I offer oblivion.
You guys are friends?
You talk.
Okay, so it starts April 8th. Here's the thing. I really love these characters. I mean, I just Carl Urban as Butcher is just it's now ridiculous. He's like a Doc Ock type of character with weird tentacles coming out of his back. Okay. It's just every season they do something over the top and ridiculous, extreme, like sex, violence. You know, I know the politics are really one-sided.
Yeah.
I mean, really one-sided. And you know, I wish it was more balanced, but I love these characters. It kind of reminds me of when I've watched other TV shows where I love the characters and the show is crap. So I'm still gonna watch it. I don't think I'm gonna do episode by episode review, but I'll watch it and I'll give you my thoughts. Alan,
yeah, you know, I mean, look, since season 3, I've sensed it's high level TDS,
right?
And you know, that's the thing about fiction. You can write whatever you want. You could take your political outrage and just put it in your show, and that's fine. It's just don't expect clear thinking people to want to watch it, nor it's just feeding into the people who are just way into TDS. And this one just kind of confirms it. The fact that he's in the White House just tells you, what happens if the worst person in the world became president? As if they don't think that's happening right now.
Exactly. But it does really bother me that so much of entertainment is filled with the iconography of the American flag being viewed as something negative. We saw that in the Lanterns trailer.
Yeah.
We saw that. We've seen that throughout episodes of The Boys. It's really unbalanced. But I love the characters, and I want to see who lives, who dies. I'm going to predict Homelander dies, because after that, you're not going to care. Yeah. The main nemesis is gone. I predict that that's going to be the ending.
Yeah. By the way, I did something this week.
What'd you do?
I was at Sam's Club, and I bought my old one. Had to get rid of it. I bought an American flag, so I've gone full MAGA.
You don't already own one?
I did. I had one. It got old. I hadn't replaced it until now.
What made you wait so long?
Money and opportunity.
Cool. Yeah. Well, hey, we've got a lot of news stories we'll get to, and then we'll get to your comments after we've gone through a lot. And I do see comments about The Bride. I'm going to save that for when we talk about The Bride. There's a lot to discuss. Everyone is looking forward to Project Hail Mary. And I'm sorry to actually, should I show you this right now? I bought it. I couldn't wait. I have the Lego of Project Hail Mary Lego with Rocky. I'll put myself full screen here. It's currently on sale. The last time I bought anything Lego was for Dune. So make of that what you will. I'm excited. I won't start putting it together until I see the movie again, which I plan to on the 19th. But Lord Miller talked about using practical effects on Project Hail Mary. And here's a clip right here about it. Alan, you haven't read the book.
No, I haven't.
Okay. I'm really curious because I have. You have not. I want to know what someone who's not read the book thinks of the movie. Just, because you're going to have a different opinion. And I really want to see if you're able to understand everything that's going on. What?
If I'm able to understand things, okay.
I think you'll. Well, the problem is the movie moves really fast past a lot of things.
No, I know what you
mean. It's explained well in the book. I'm wondering if you can catch all of it. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. I'm saying the movie. Look, I know you're a 960 SAT guy.
Look, that's the thing. I can watch a movie. I just can't read the movie.
Yeah. So, well, don't worry. There's no subtitles. Here we go. Oh, are they? I'm trying to remember. No. Yeah. Here we go.
Production design, because you're doing so many practical things that you have James Ortiz's Rocky, you have Neil Scanlon's design. I'm just so curious, like, what is your greatest achievement in the practical effects of this film as directors?
Gosh, I mean, the thing about it is, like, it's such a team effort. Like, it takes so many brilliant creative people to come together to make this, just like it takes all these brilliant creative people to solve the story in Hail Mary and, like, send Ryland Grace to space. I think that singular achievement has to be Rocky, holistically, from his, like, design that started, before we even had a script, to the just physically printing him out and painting him and having him move in ways that were expressive, and to the CG artists and animators who all, like, took the baton from James and his team and, like, kept being expressive and bringing their own personality to it. It's emblematic of what happened through the whole movie, which is, like, we started with crazy ideas. We made incredible physical, we made them manifest on stage and allowed us to all respond to them. And then we had all these great collaborators at the end to help it come to life even more.
And what's fun about the movie is that there is no green screen in the movie whatsoever. And there's not a single green or blue screen was used. The whole ship was built as a set from the inside. We had a huge section of the exterior of the ship on the outside that we built. Rocky was really with us at all times, and so that's what makes it feel real and makes it feel natural. And the way that Greg's team lit with a lot of practical lights allowed him to like move the camera wherever and find these moments, because you could see this thing that Rocky was doing and then move over to Grace and see his reaction for it was really happening, and you weren't just guessing and pointing it at where Rocky might be someday. And that's what makes it feel like it was captured in the moment.
So having seen the film, it's almost like they went back to old techniques, like to make 2001 A Space Odyssey, and nothing. I know that they used some CG to remove things. For example, even BB-8 in the Star Wars sequels, there's a person that's, moving BB-8, and they use removal to remove the devices that are used to move that character along. So there's removal, but not like they didn't use green screen. It's crazy to me because the movie is so colorful. It looks beautiful. And really the sci-fi aspects, which they kind of breeze over in the movie, but they go into detail. If you see the film, you really love it. I highly recommend the book, which gets into the science of many of the aspects of the movie. I can't wait. And in contrast to been watching Starfleet Academy, where everything is dumb and on the level of magic, to have Ryland Grace, played by Ryan Gosling, is a scientist. Yeah. He kind of sciences his way out of problems. I can't wait for you to see it, Alan. Can't wait for you to see it.
They used to science their way out of things in Star Trek. I think that was your point there.
Right, exactly. They used to do that in a way that I didn't
like real science.
Like real science.
Or the future that you could that could possibly happen in this realm of physics that we're held to.
Yeah. So I hope this is successful, which would mark a return to science fiction that asks questions, that asks big questions, not just about science, but about life in the universe, where we fit, about other life forms and what they may be made of even, and how they're different. And I'm not going to say a lot now, but when we start talking about Project Hail Mary and people will be able to see it, screenings, you can see it actually a week from today. There are special screenings on the 13th, 14th, 15th, and through Amazon, you can get tickets on the 16th to see it. We will not talk anything spoilery until after it's in theaters, after on our show that'll be on the 20th, which is the official release date. So I for one, can't wait to see it again. I want to see it with other people, both who've read the book and not. And I want to see it on the big screen with a whole group of... The screening I'm going to is like completely sold out, except for the seats in the first few rows. So there you go.
I mean, I could see it. It looks like I'm going to have to pay $30 to see it if I do.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's how much Regal's charging.
Okay, well, you don't need to see it early. See it on the 19th. We'll talk about it.
I do kind of want to see it on a large screen in 70 millimeter. But to the point of the video, I mean, have we really makes you think, have we really improved filmmaking since the early 90s?
Yeah, true.
If you're gonna dispatch with 30 years of technology improvements in filmmaking, it says a lot about what's happened during those 30 years. And did it really make things better? I think maybe the advancements or I think it's the cameras. The only thing different in this movie is the cameras capturing the images. It just makes lighting easier. The editing, the digital, and all that stuff. But really, beyond that, the special effects. It just sounds like we've just dispensed with 30 years of movie magic technology.
And I think people have grown tired of CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I have.
Rocky, which is in the trailer. He's in the trailer. There's, could have easily been done CGI, would not have been as effective. Not in the least had been effective. So, I'm glad we're taking a step back. I think practical effects are back, and CG has just gotten, I think, lazy because you can do anything. The camera can move anywhere, and it gives an sort of, we talk about uncanny valley with AI. Uncanny Valley looks like a lot of CGI now. It looks bad, and it's rushed. And I know it's not, a lot of the times it's not the effects. Like, they're so rushed, they're sacrificing. Well, this shot is only a fraction of a second. It can be bad because audiences won't see it for very long. But we've lost that verisimilitude, to quote RMB, that sense of realness. I mean, Christopher Nolan has the same philosophy with his films. He'll only use CG if there's no other way to do it. And in the Dark Knight films, you may or may not have known, there were a lot of miniature effects. The Batmobile was a miniature. In the Dark Knight, the Joker shot out of a truck. That truck was a miniature in certain shots.
Yeah.
So,
well, Oppenheimer, the nuclear blast was a miniature shot, not CG.
But it was real.
It was real.
The explosion was real.
It wasn't a real nuclear blast, but
yeah.
The other thing, what is also back, and I think this is going to be a big thing moving forward, but film is back. I think we've been to a couple of Kodak events, and a lot of films, especially those being nominated for Oscars, were shot on film. They weren't shot digitally.
I was at a Kodak event, and these were the napkins that they passed out. Shoot film. And with Credo 23 Film Festival coming up, we just had Justine Bateman on the show. I think there is a return to, like, film has a dreamlike quality. It's alive. It also adds more importance to it. We've got these Judd Apatow comedies that are 2.5 hours because he can just roll film and say that line, but say it 20 different ways. It doesn't make the movie better. There's something special about film and the intensity. You've got to get it right. You can't just do endless takes. I mean, you can, but you can't do endless takes with the way you can with digital. With film, there's something precious. I think it makes everybody up their game at every level. So,
yeah, less laziness. Yeah.
Hey, the Paramount-Warner Brothers merger. A lot of people have had opinions on this. First, with Netflix, they said, no, Netflix, that's not what we want. And then the Paramount-Warner merger happened. And then, no, we don't want that either. Jamie Lee Curtis had some comments that have gotten some attention. Let's see what she has to say about it.
Speaking of today's world, big news happening in the industry with Paramount and Warner Brothers. What are your thoughts on the potential merger?
You know what? I am not versed enough in what the real ramifications. I mean, any consolidation.
She's not versed enough. Maybe she could be on Versus, but maybe, like, there are a multitude of topics that I do not have an opinion on. Because I don't feel, even though I know about these topics, I don't feel comfortable expressing an opinion because I don't know enough to add anything useful to the conversation, which I would say, make of that what you will. That's my policy. You do you. But
didn't her father and mother grow up in the, brought up through the studio system? I mean,
right. Honestly, I like Jamie Lee Curtis. I like the Halloween films. But let's hear what she has to say on this.
Is always going to ask questions about how much power does that one large company hold over what we see and hear, and who takes the decisions within that company it's not a democracy. It's run by businessmen. So are we now going to be fed content based on what that businessman's political and creative vision is? Or can art still exist within that framework? And that's always the question anytime there's a big consolidation of creative business entities into one mashup. What's going to take the precedent and be the thing that drives the most? And I hope art will continue to be the driver and not politics.
I agree with what she had to say about consolidation. I think the more players, the more competition, the better. Fewer players, that's fewer different voices. Now we're seeing, I mean, Paramount-Warner will result in 15 movies a year being released from Paramount, 15 from Warner, 15 from Paramount. So 30 theatrical releases, some of them tent poles. I would probably add at least make it 25 a year from each and make 10 movies that are tinier that you roll the dice on and say, I don't know, it only cost $5 million. It could be, who knows? Let's see. For the
I mean, if that was the model, if it was like 10, let's see, 10 polls and 20 indies or 20 low budget.
Yeah, or 15 tent poles. You've got 10 movies under 5 million to up and coming directors that you can groom in a good way. You groom these filmmakers in a way that like prepares them for bigger projects. You know, Chris Nolan didn't just sprout. Now, he made a little 16 millimeter indie movie that played at Slam Dance called Following. He followed that up with a movie made for a couple million called Memento that the next year was at Sundance. And then he did a movie for Warner Brothers that I really didn't like. It starred Robin Williams and that I didn't love it.
Which one was that one?
I forget the name of it even. The chat knows. But that was a bigger budget. You can't throw these directors, you know, you've got to like scale up and have them move up the ladder in terms of budget. But
Insomnia, that was it.
Yeah, Insomnia, that was it. Thanks, chat. Love you guys. But her point about the politics, you mean, hasn't that already been happening with everything anyways?
Yeah, let me frame that.
Please.
Okay. So you have, I'll just say you have 5 studios, major studios, and you're fine with it because why? They agree with the same politics that you have. But now one of them decides to have the politics that you don't have. And so now 1 out of the 5 doesn't share your same politics. And now you're upset because of that one. This is why this argument is stupid, at least the political argument. The competition she called it being run by businessmen. I call it the lack of competition. The important thing about having many studios is that they are competing against each other. By competing against each other, you're going to get a wide diversity of films because they're all going to go after broader audiences or more niche audiences. And then you're also going to lower the cost of making a movie because now everyone's in competition to get the resources to make those movies. You know, as opposed to having one mega company that basically runs the theatrical business. Because now, like I said, the current theaters are at the mercies of the big studios. And what we want to happen is that that theaters can actually start becoming more independent from the studios, not beholden to their windows, not beholden to what you can screen and what you cannot screen, where you can screen it. But now you have smaller films that make a little bit more money for the theaters in competition with that. That's the important thing of having more studios as opposed to having all this consolidation going on.
And you know what? She has a right to have that opinion.
Sure.
I would say I'm glad she didn't really state out loud exactly what political, side. She just said, generally, you could apply that to a lot of companies.
But the thing is, there's I'm sorry, there's two sides, a left and a right, and you need to have both. The problem is we've only had one, and now this threat of Paramount becoming the other one is just a stupid argument to me. Let Paramount look. I don't think Paramount is a right-wing conservative Republican outlet, but they're at least willing to venture out in that direction, and by all means, go for it. And the other studios should do that as well.
Well, I think ultimately my prediction, follow the money, in terms of that's what they're going to be doing, following the money, looking for, I don't expect there to be conservative or right-leaning content coming out of Paramount WB. What I expect is movies that will more than likely be non-political or get back to values that we can all agree upon.
Yeah.
And I mean, by all, I mean left and right can agree upon great storytelling that inspires, is aspirational, and just it's sort of in a non-political way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going to make 30 movies, then make them across the spectrum.
Right. Let's go to hang on. I got a couple more news stories and then we'll get to your comments. Why Disney chose The Mandalorian and Grogu to relaunch Star Wars in theaters. It's been 7 years since the rise of Skywalker. 7 years. And why exactly did Disney choose this to relaunch the Star Wars franchise in theaters? This is an article in Empire Magazine. Alan, you have notes.
Yes.
Let me bring it up on screen. Here we go.
All right. Well, after debuting The Mandalorian, a tiny force-welding foundling Grogu became a pop culture juggernaut. He checks every box studios love: massive merchandise sale, viral internet appeal, cross-generational popularity, instantly recognizable character. Putting Grogu on a movie poster is basically Lucasfilm saying, we're bringing the galaxy's most marketable passenger to theaters. For the franchise trying to rebuild theatrical momentum, that's a comforting safety net. The Mandalorian is the most widely watched Star Wars series on Disney+. That means millions of viewers already know who Din Djarin, Grogu, who they are, as well as the tone and the world of the series. Launching a film from that base gives a movie a pre-existing fan pipeline rather than introducing totally new characters. In studio terms, it's less like opening a new restaurant and more like expanding the most popular food truck into a full dining hall. Some other announcement Star Wars has made requires major world building before cameras roll. The new Jedi Order, starring Daisy Ridley, and Dave Filoni's crossover event connecting to several TV series. For example, with Jon Favreau writing and directing, the project could move from announcement to production much faster than starting from scratch. This movie is also a test case for new franchise models: streaming show, theatrical movie, then back to streaming. If it works, Lucasfilm could repeat the formula with other shows like Ahsoka or Andor. Hollywood is very curious whether audiences will follow the character from streaming onto the big screen. And a movie like Star Wars: The Force Awakens had to relaunch the entire franchise. By contrast, The Mandalorian Grogu can function as a self-contained adventure.
Well, basically, they're going on the recognition of it's the most successful Disney Plus,
most successful Star Wars series on
Star Wars. That's what I'm saying. I mean, but I don't know. Have you heard how the Disney Plus's numbers have stalled?
Mm-hmm.
It's not doing well. They're running a promotion now that's $4.99 a month for Disney Plus and Hulu. It's really stalled. And the thing is, the programming people, they're having trouble getting people, an audience over 10 years old. The older programming, your Bluey, your classic Disney stuff, that's doing well. The new stuff Disney makes is not doing well on the platform. And the only thing Star Wars on Disney Plus that even people talked about in a positive way across the board, love it or hate it, and by the end I hated it, was Mandalorian and Grogu. I've seen every trailer for this movie and I'm not excited. It's just it's a season finale of like a season 4 of the show. But what do you think of this, Alan?
Yeah, I think they're trying to fix a problem that is broken at its foundations. When it comes to The Mandalorian, I saw the first season and tried to get into the second. I think we were forced to see the third. And it's just a series that I'm not that excited about. Grogu was cute when Grogu first appeared. But now every time I see him, he's just this puppet that is pulled by one string and being thrown around. I know Disney wants to believe Grogu is as popular as Yoda, but he's just not. And there are reasons for that. And I just, as much as I want this to be true, I want this to happen, I just don't believe Disney has a good understanding of what they've done to Star Wars and they don't think there's a problem, and so therefore they're not in any need to fix it.
Well, once you go the Muppet Babies route, I think your franchise is dead. I think once you go the babies and the cute aspect, a franchise is kind of dying. So it's max of desperation. And also there's not a compelling reason to see the movie. I mean, I really feel like if they had restraint, if they had shown restraint like George Lucas does in this films, Grogu would have been the season arc, takes you to the end. He's delivered where he's supposed to go, and that's the end of it. Maybe turns up in a later season, but have a season arc and that's it. The problem is when that character kind of took over, the show got far less interesting. And I don't expect this movie to be, it's not going to, I mean, the thing about the original Star Wars trilogy is Darth Vader Luke's father? What's going to happen? Will Luke turn to the dark side? We don't know. Alan, do you have to deal with something personally?
Yeah, no, I got to take it care of.
Okay. Do people know you're on YouTube doing a show?
No, they don't.
Okay, maybe let that person know. What I tend to do is not respond.
I know, but when it deals money, I kind of have to do it.
Well, okay.
All right, we got it. It's taken care of.
Okay.
Because you want to keep talking about Mandalorian and Grogu?
No, I'm pissed. I don't care.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's how enthusiastic I am. Hey, more news. Come on.
Yeah, let's do this.
In related news, can the new Disney CEO Josh D'Amaro save Disney? Alan, you have met him.
I've met him, yes. Met him last time I was at South by Southwest.
Well, okay, so he was there. What's going on, Variety? All right, I already subscribed. Can new Disney CEO Josh D'Amaro weather AI, revitalize Star Wars and Marvel, and save Magic Kingdom? We have a graphic here. His head as a bust. You've got the past shepherds of Walt Disney legacy. I love how they have like Bob Iger on there twice. Anyways, but here we are. He's the latest. Tell me what's in this story, and I want your thoughts.
Okay, on March 18, Bob Iger will hand the CEO role at the Walt Disney Company to Josh D'Amaro, the longtime parks chief. Wall Street views him as a steady operator at a moment of turbulence. Disney's dominance now faces pressure from every angle. Streaming rivals like Netflix, tech giants like Apple and Amazon, attention magnets like YouTube and TikTok. Artificial intelligence adds another layer. Disney is investing $1 billion in OpenAI and will battle copyright concerns. Iger says tomorrow sees AI not as a threat, but as the fuel for creativity. Tomorrow himself said, "This is when the Walt Disney Company thrives, when technology intersects with business, people, and creativity." Disney's iconic brands remain powerful but wobbly in spots. The MCU faces audience fatigue even after uneven box office results. Star Wars has not released a theatrical film in over 6 years. The last Avatar movie grossed $1.4 billion, but that was nearly $1 billion less than its predecessor. Analysts say Disney must revive legacy franchises while building new ones to power the flywheel of streaming, parks, and consumer products. Tomorrow lacks film and television experience, unlike some rivals for the CEO job. To balance that, Disney elevated Dana Walden to president and chief content officer. Walden is widely respected in Hollywood and is seen as a steady bridge to creative talent, unlike former CEO Bob Chapek. Tomorrow's track record shows bold bets, building a new theme park in Abu Dhabi, investing in Epic Games creator of Fortnite, and expand Disney's IP into interactive gaming. He is also known for sweating details from trash can colors to popcorn flavors, and once spent 3 hours brainstorming ride improvements. He even drove himself to Mattel headquarters to meet product designers after a licensing deal. Tomorrow said in the town hall meeting, "It's surreal. I got a little embarrassed. I got a little choked up, but it's a big responsibility." Tomorrow often tells his children, "Just say yes." And now he is saying yes to running one of the world's most storied entertainment companies.
Look, they hired from within. I expect nothing to change. Nothing. He's been there how long before he was elevated to that position?
Well over.
Yeah. So he knows the drill. He knows the culture. You would need someone to come from outside if you wanted to change the culture. I expect nothing to change. Not with Star Wars films or TV shows, not with Marvel. Nothing that really needs to be done, which is bring in your veterans to mentor people coming up to learn how to make movies and TV shows with broad appeal that appeal to everyone, and avoid leaning into things politically that generally not only appeal to one side of the aisle, but sometimes a fraction of people on that side of the aisle, or at least sequester those people those people off, or that audience off, with a brand and call it Disney Sparkle, which I think is still a good idea. And I talked to someone who had a meeting with Disney, heard my rant about Disney Sparkle, and said he thought it was a really good idea. Why don't they do that? Why don't they just do it? And then you get a sense of what that market really is, which I think is very small. Alan, what do you think about all this?
Oh, yeah. This is the problem when you hire within, because just reading that article, all it talks about is Disney confronting the obstacles ahead of it. So streaming and Netflix, the fact that they're relying on other tech giants like Apple and Amazon to get their stuff done. They have to deal with YouTube and TikTok. You can't run a business that big, and your only focus is how do we handle streaming? How do we handle Netflix? How do we handle TikTok? How do we handle this? How do we handle that? What lacks in this article and what lacks in anything I've heard Josh tomorrow say is any kind of vision. Anything that says, look, this is what Disney is. This is our mission statement. This is what we do. This is our business. And just saying that you're a big entertainment company is not a mission statement. You know, a mission statement guides the direction you head in, the projects you invest time and money in. It takes into account the audience that you currently have, and you're not seeing any of that. You know, it also projects itself into the future. It says, this is where we're going to be 5 years from now. This is where we see the world and entertainment happening. Well, AI is here. Well, of course we have to use AI. That's not a vision. That's just saying, oh, here's a new tool. How are we going to incorporate it into this big machine we have? And that's what the Borg do. They just assimilate whatever's coming in and tries to create something great out of it. And what you get instead are a bunch of, a bunch of Borg-like creatures operating your machine with no vision, no color, nothing exciting to look forward to, no anticipation of nothing. This is, Disney used to be that.
Well, it's hive mind mentality is what it is. So
the last time Disney had that kind of vision, it's when Lasseter was running things.
The all-stars are Jeffrey Katzenberg, Michael Eisner, Walt Disney himself, and John
Lasseter.
And Bob Iger, what he did is he bought IP and then became a terrible shepherd of those IP. I expect nothing to change.
Yep.
Let's go to comments. And by the way, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee, but I can hear what people are saying. So apologies, folks. I'm just getting coffee. I'll be right back.
Okay.
And I can hear it. Go see it, Alan. Says
Yes.
Peter Yarnick. What? Go see what, Peter?
Yeah, go see it for 30 pounds.
Is it?
Yeah, I'll see it. He's talking about Project Hail Mary.
Hail Mary, go see it.
Yeah, he gave me 30 pounds to see Project Hail Mary for $30 US.
I'll be right there.
Let's see. Christopher Moonlight Productions. Hey, don't you owe us a new article? As much as I push AI for indie filmmakers, I'm a huge practical effects fan and even worked for Studio ADI, a PFX studio. Look up their YouTube videos on the Thing prequel. Mind-blowing stuff. Yes, go check that. Studio ADI. Let's see. Here we go. From Grizzly Nightmare. Chris would like Toho to make a sequel to War of the Gargantuas. I bet you he would. Let's see. From Bill S. Preston Esquire. Jamie Lee's been happily pushing a political and ideological agenda for a while, but she's concerned that someone else might push a different one. Yeah, we all love it when people push our own personal political agendas. All for that. But Infinity Herzog Studio. I don't even know if I'm reading that right. All this can be fixed by one philosophy: make stuff people want to watch. It is really not that hard. They are simply stupid, so that they are using every excuse to explain their terrible films. Yeah, make films people want, and if you're, and even greater companies anticipate what people will think is great, or what one day they hope is great. And again, Disney used to be that company. I don't think people wanted a new Little Mermaid movie, but Eisner and gang, they produced one and they made it. They elevated that story. With music, they just knew what it took. All right, enough of my babbling. Here we go.
Hey, wait a sec. Somebody mentioned War of the Gargantuas, and I wasn't.
Yes, he says that you want Toho to make a sequel to War of the Gargantuas.
No, I want them to do like a Shin Gargantua movie. They did Shin Godzilla, Shin Ultraman, whatever. Make it more realistic. I love that movie, War of the Gargantuas. Thank you, Grizzly Nightmare. Yeah,
okay,
but
okay, and then Pookie Malibu. For 5, the comics final showdown is in the White House, so it looks like it is at least keeping that.
Huh. Thank you, Pookie Malibu.
Okay. Oh, and let's see. From Foolish American for 2. Why, Aaron, by American Frag. You bad man.
Thank you, foolish American.
English Badgers. Remember for 26 months.
Oh, my God.
Did you enjoy Pillion or Starfleet Academy more? You know what? I would have to throw Pillion my vote.
So Pillion is better than Starfleet Academy. Is it less or is it more or less gay?
It's well, Pillion is more gay. Pillion is 100% gay.
Yeah.
You know, I look, there's some horrific images. Okay, maybe I misstated that, but in my mind, they were pretty horrific. I wouldn't want to go through any of those things. But still, at least they attempted a true love story. Whether they succeeded is up to you.
Other quick comments before we go to reviews.
Yeah, Read by Nature. I noped out on The Boys near the end of season 2, went back and tried watching season 3, and just felt like it was even worse. Season 3 is when it was very clear to me that Homelander was Trump.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's sad to me because presidents have always kind of influenced movies. You know, they kind of cast a president in a film that's kind of based on the current president in a vague way. I think Trump is the first time they've done it in a way where they vilified the president. In past films, they haven't really vilified the president. Was a figurehead as a fictional movie character.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, I would say on the other side, Obama was a character who could do no wrong.
Yeah.
And that's how he's portrayed. Dark Knight Returns. The Dark Knight Returns had political commentary, but it was done in a satirical way.
Yeah.
MK Solid for 5. Can Alan say treasure these moments following the gong sound?
Well, I'm not sure if he can do it. I mean, let's see. Alan, say that.
Here, hold on.
Read it. No, I got it. Yeah, go ahead.
Treasure these moments. All right.
That's great. Okay. I love it. I can't put that on repeat and just play it the whole time. That sucks. Okay. All right.
Oh, one more. English Badgers. Oh my God, Sparkle. I'm still giggling about the thought of Alan sat in the dark theater watching Pillion Man talk about taking one for the team. Respect Al. Oh my gosh. Look, my screening in the middle of the week at night was filled. It wasn't sold out, but it was pretty close to it. And the gay couple next to me in the reclining chairs found themselves inspired by the movie.
Well, let's just say it's not the only thing that was filled in that theater. Hey, Alan, we have a lot of reviews today. You've seen some movies that I haven't. So let's just get to it. Let's start with Protector. I did not see Protector. Alan, you have seen it. It stars Mila Jovovich. Tell me about Protector.
Yes. By the way, did I forget to mention that this is Women's History Month?
Well, you're going to mention it about 6 more times before the show ends.
Pretty much. So Mila Jovovich plays Nikki Halstead, who is a decorated war veteran who's served several tours overseas in the Persian Gulf. While at the same time, she had a daughter named Chloe. And so she was gone a whole lot, and her husband kind of raised the daughter. Want me to tell you what the husband's name is?
Tell me.
So the first time it's mentioned, the husband's name is Chloe's father. And the second time the husband's name was mentioned, he was called My Husband.
Okay.
So that's kind of the it says a little bit about this film. So after the husband dies, Nikki decides to leave Special Forces and raise her daughter. Problem is that she was never around, and she's kind of bringing this military discipline to the house. and the daughter's 16th birthday. You know, she wants to hang out with her friends, but mom wants to throw her a birthday party at home. And so after a night of arguing, you know, when Nikki thinks Chloe's in bed, Chloe sneaks out and hangs out with her friends at a local bar. But wait, she's 16. Who cares? So they're at the bar. There's this guy who kind of gives her the look, and they kind of hit it off. And the guy decides that he'll drive her home, and her friends say, "Okay, we'll take off then." And then at this point, Nikki realizes her daughter's gone, uses her iPhone to pinpoint her location. When she arrives at the bar, Chloe had just been roofied by the guy, and now they're dragging her out and they're kidnapping her. And then she goes through this entire chase scene where she gets really close. Like, there were 3 guys involved. She killed 2 of them, but the one that got away was the one who was able to take Chloe with her to and the movie's about sex trafficking.
So it's basically Taken.
Yeah.
It's Taken, but with Mila Jovovich as a vengeful mom.
Right. And no speed.
I've seen the trailer. But
Yeah.
is it, I mean, look, like, I can't imagine any mom in that situation would probably suit up with guns and head off.
Yeah.
But, and also, we don't see a lot of movies that address this very serious issue, not mainstream movies anyway.
Right.
Is
And it
is
does
a
a pretty
decent
good job of
act-
that. The
Yeah.
beginning
I was gonna
and the end of the film, there's a lot of subtitles about just how rampant human trafficking is, especially over the last 4 years. So that is definitely the theme behind this movie is, or the main goal of it is take down these sex traffickers.
Right.
Okay, so this is a really interesting film, because there are things you notice that that really indicates that this movie didn't have a lot of money, but it really tried to look big. So there's a point where Nikki goes in to a what they call a whorehouse, where she thinks her daughter is. She winds up killing all the men in there and then burning the whorehouse down, releasing all the women. This is all done in a quick transition, so you don't actually see her do it, but you see scenes and glimpses of it. There are fight scenes, very big action-packed fight scenes that happen off camera. You know, what you do get is you get a lot of the close action, the close-up action, the fist fights, the gun fights, the knife fights. And then there are larger car chases and things like that you just don't see. And, you know, part of me felt bad for the movie because it's like, well, oh man, they clearly didn't have money. Clearly there was a much bigger script written and they just didn't have the money to be able to shoot these things. And so look, if you're looking for an action film, it's very gory, it's very bloody, lots of fist fights, a lot of knife fights, and with Mila Jovovich, with her record, you know, you kind of buy her as the badass.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen her be a badass in other movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
She's very believable.
Yeah, and there's kind of the there's the truth behind Nikki that would be a spoiler if I told you about it. And I found that interesting. And I think they're trying to set up for a sequel, but you know, it's not going to be quite there. I think of the Women's History Month movies, this is probably the best one I've seen so far. You know, it's just pure action. You're going to get action, and it's got that message of human trafficking that we kind of want. But again, you're just going to notice that there should be bigger scenes in this movie. They're just not there. They're more talked about than seen.
So do you recommend it?
Mild recommendation.
Mild recommendation.
You know,
Okay.
it's that action. It's that low budget action film you watch on the weekends. That's this movie.
We've reviewed a lot of movies in January, February, and now March. And many of the films we've reviewed have been a mild recommendation. It's just okay. It's I dare say it's mid. If you know, just you see it, it's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. A lot of things that might be good for streaming.
Right. But it's also the state of indie film. They just don't have the money to do big blockbuster stunt sequences. The insurance alone would kill that. And so, you do what you can, and this movie did what it could.
Let's go to comments.
Sounds like Taken. Yeah.
Did you say
Yeah,
it sounds like
you'll
Tolkien?
notice that right off the bat.
Yeah. Thanks, Razorburn. Good to see you.
It's pronounced Yoyovich, is it?
Garth Knight Returns says that's how it's pronounced. I'm gonna believe. I'm gonna believe him.
Okay.
Hey, Alan, you're a huge Disney fan. You're a huge Pixar fan.
Yes, was.
Hoppers is here from Pixar.
Look at that poster.
And look, to me, Pixar has not had a great run. The last Pixar movie I really loved, and not just loved, I got emotional at the end of the film. The music is amazing. I think it's their last great movie was Coco.
Yeah.
I really believe that. Just beautiful film about, family legacy, about music. Just beautiful. In fact, watching Hoppers makes me want to see Coco again. Back to Pixar's greatness. If you haven't seen the trailer, the story is real simple. You want me to go over it, Alan? Yeah, let's go over it with the cast. There's a character named Mabel who loves her grandmother, who loves nature, and she is an activist. Little Mabel, as a kid, is an activist. She wants to protect the animals and the environment.
By the way, can I stop you for a second?
Please.
So Mabel and her grandmother, Mabel's a kid. They have a great relationship. Guess what I told Tyler, or our friend Tyler, who saw the movie with us?
Yeah.
Grandma's gonna die at any moment now.
yeah. As soon as you see grandma gonna be dead. So, but Mabel, she's inspired by her grandmother, who encourages her activism. She's a plucky young girl. Although you pointed out to me, Alan, that originally, please tell me what you told me.
Yeah, it was 100% confirmed, but there was gay coding in this movie. Like that she was not only an activist, but most likely she was queer.
So there you are. Mabel is in a constant fight with the mayor of the town, Mayor Jerry. Played by John Hamm. And Mayor Jerry wants to build a freeway extension that's going to destroy this beautiful sanctuary for animals and nature. Somehow Mabel happens upon professors at her school that are developing a technology. She notices a very unusual beaver. A strange beaver enters the picture. Well, it's not a beaver. It's an avatar. And they even in the movie they mentioned, you mean like Avatar? They actually, because it is conceptually like Avatar. A human puts their brain into an avatar of an animal that then goes off to and can actually speak and converse with other animals once in that form. Well, Mabel uses this to infiltrate the animals and basically inspire an uprising against the evil humans and Mayor Jerry to save the sanctuary. I mean, look, so that's the basics of it. It goes off into ridiculous extremes in the third act. The first half of the film, I thought the character Mabel was insufferable. The mayor reminded me of Gavin Newsom, governor of California. If you ask me, very phony.
You remember what I told you? The big difference between Mayor Jerry and Gavin Newsom was?
What?
Mayor Jerry actually built a freeway.
Yeah. Actually built something. Mayor Jerry was in the midst of finishing it.
Yeah.
Well, this leads to an animal uprising. Some other animals then are kind of take over with more nefarious plans that Mabel might not be down with. So how the turntables turn in the third act. I got to say, the first half of the movie, I was not with it. I thought Mabel was kind of insufferable. The second half kind of won me over because it went in ways I didn't expect. This is, for me, this was not, peak Pixar like Coco, which we spoke about earlier. I think this is weak Pixar. Barely, it passes as a bare recommend to me. In fact, if you're someone that needs to see every Pixar movie, this is one you can skip. So a bare recommend only because it does get better in the second half, which I there were some twists I thought, oh, didn't see that coming. That's kind of weird. I don't want to ruin it. And there's good voice acting from people like Bobby Moynihan, Dave Franco, and Dimitri Martin. Meryl Streep is even in the movie.
Yeah, a lot of
as the
Saturday Night Live
insect queen.
Yeah, a lot of old Saturday Night Live cast members.
Yeah. But Alan, I think no one cares about what I think. You're the Disney Pixar fan.
Yeah.
You're the historian. What do you think about Hoppers?
Well, I mean, we mentioned it up front, but how far Pixar has fallen. Pixar used to be the gold standard when it came to not only CG animation, but storytelling.
Yeah.
And as you say, Coco, even though his name was removed from it, Coco is essentially John Lasseter's last movie with Disney. It came out months after his firing, which means, he had been working on it. He had been overseeing it for years up until that point. This is, I mean, not even close to any of the Lasseter Pixar's, even Cars 2 and The Good Dinosaur. This doesn't even match itself up to. The other thing is, Hoppers is not a family movie. It's a kid's movie, meaning if you're an adult and your kid wants to see this movie, that's a great chance for you to take your kid to the movie. And if you accidentally fall asleep, you're okay. It's like the time my daughter made me take her to see the Emoji Movie. Just knowing full well, I'm doing this for my kid. I'm not doing this for me. Look, Pixar has fallen. Illumination has risen. Illumination now is the gold standard when it comes to kids' movies. I can't believe I actually do like watching Minion movies. I resist it, but I go there and I actually wind up having a decent time. And look, this is why. This is what's happening at Pixar that needs to change, and you better see major changes occurring with the new Toy Story movie. But Pixar used to take a story and basically, we've seen behind the scenes video of this, documentaries about this, but there'd be a room and the room was full of storyboards and people would go in and pitch ideas. They would be telling jokes. Oh, here's a great joke here. Here's a great joke. But they would take the joke and then sit on it and let it marinate to really discover, is this the best joke we could tell, or could we take it even deeper? This movie just felt like it was slapped together. Oh, hey, here's a great idea. Here's a great idea. Here's a joke. Here's another joke. And they just ran out of time, needed to string together some kind of a script. And here it is. They just don't pay attention to the story anymore. I don't think people there know how to tell deep stories like Pixar used to tell anymore. This is just a very surface level movie. The other thing is the animation. The animation is so subpar compared to what Pixar used to be. In the beginning of the movie, we talked about it. It's Mabel and her grandmother. They're at this pond, this beaver pond. The pond only exists because the beavers built a dam on it. And this is her quiet space because Mabel has rage issues. But this going to the pond lets her relax, let her be in tune with nature and the here and now. When you watch that scene, I want you to take a look at the background, because if I didn't know better, I'd say that background is essentially a matte painting, a backdrop. you know, you have all this 3D CG technology. You should be able to see a forest and feel the depth of it. And it just felt like it was two-dimensional. It ended at where the backdrop would have been had this been a live action movie. So, you know, people have been afraid that Disney was just going to turn Pixar into just another brand. And this movie proves that it's heading in that direction. That Pixar doesn't mean anything other than, hey, here's another brand in which we can make animated features. And
Yeah,
it's just sad.
There's almost no distinction between Disney animation and Pixar now. Pixar used to be the sign of quality. And I'll say this, Coco, I got emotional at the end of the film. What that movie deals with family, death, legacy, etc. This movie, I felt almost nothing.
Yeah.
You know, while the second half was like, oh, some funny ideas paying off here. It went in directions I didn't expect. At the end of the day, I really wasn't moved by Hoppers at all.
Yeah.
So, and that's what ultimately you want a movie to do. Not only
that's ultimately what you want a Pixar movie to do.
Yeah, but Pixar movies, I mean, God, from Wall-E, think of what you felt when you saw Wall-E.
Or how about the opening moment of Up? You know, it's like handling the death of a grandparent. You know, up, you just can't beat that.
Yeah, like just the emotional weight that used to be like, and there would be some Pixar movies that like, I don't feel, and then the end they kind of get you, you know, and you'd be like, oh my God, they really got me. I'm okay. I'm not feeling that from anything recent Pixar. And this is it's weak. Like I said, you said it. It's a kids movie. This is a kids movie. So
I should say I can give it a bare recommendation, and it's a kids movie, meaning you as the adult, you're gonna get nothing out of this movie, but your kids are probably gonna have a fun time with it.
Well, there you go. There's our verdict.
Yeah.
Couple of quick comments.
Yeah, True64, I agree. Coco was the last great Pixar film almost 10 years ago. I have to tell you, I think I've told the story before, but I saw Coco recently, and I made the mistake of visiting my mother's grave beforehand.
No.
So we went to see Coco afterwards, and at the end, I'm bawling like a baby, and my daughter is laughing at me. She goes, "You're crying, aren't you?" Yeah, I'm crying.
Oh my God.
All right, Doc Possum, watch 100 of Beavers instead.
Hundreds of Beavers is great indie movie.
Especially for the kids.
Won last year indie movie of the year.
Tim is not funny. Hoppers is okay, yeah. But far from
yeah.
Pixar's best. Feels more like Illumination's film. Only less jokes and a tad more heart. Central conceit is fun and interesting, but becomes too illogical even for a kid flicks. I would have to say that Illumination has taken over where Pixar used to be. This is not. Illumination makes better movies than Hopper.
Alan, Here Comes the Bride. Maggie Gyllenhaal wrote and directed The Bride. It's based on the Bride of Frankenstein. It's a bold feminist fever dream, a retelling of the Bride story that is inspired by Bonnie and Clyde, by Sid and Nancy. And on the surface, when I heard that, wow, it's inspired by Sid and Nancy, and it's inspired by, by Bonnie and Clyde. This could be amazing. The setting, the era, sort of the 1930s era. This could be incredible. The casting, Jessie Buckley as the bride and Christian Bale as the monster. He calls himself Frank or Frankenstein in the movie, ode to his quote father. The synopsis of this thing, it's just, here's what's weird about it. Okay. Frank or Frankenstein approaches Annette Bening, who plays this doctor I forget her name.
Euphronius.
Dr. Euphronius, who basically, Frankenstein has read her writings and she can, she can bring life back, and he wants a mate. He's suffering the agony of loneliness. So Dr. Euphronius, after studying Christian Bale's monster, decides, okay, I'll help you. He digs up a dead body of a woman we meet in the beginning of the movie who's an insufferable bitch. And upon going through the resurrection, using some black fluid that stains her like a tattoo on the corner of her mouth and on her arm, wakes up to become an insufferable bitch.
Hey, let me just interject.
Please interject. All your
Okay, so the scene is, where did you get that brain? Oh, I got it from where you wanted me to. What was the name on the brain? Abby something. Abby what? Abby Normal. I mean, that's essentially what happened here.
So Dr. Euphronius now sees her creation, this bride. She's initially confused. Where did I used to live? Obviously she's got memory issues. Eventually she takes a liking to Frank. As they go to movies together, they go see movies of Ronnie Reed, who's the actor in these 1930s black and white movies. And Frank is obsessed with going to the movies and introduces his bride to the movies. Jake Gyllenhaal plays this character, Ronnie Reed. Detective Jake Wiles, played by Peter Sarsgaard, enters the picture with his assistant in tow, played by Penelope Cruz, which is weird. But the bride gets Frank in some awkward situations. She spots this bar and club, looks like my kind of place, which is like a gay bar. I don't know. It's the 30s. Sure, I'm sure that existed. Some kind of bar where there's a lot of queer people and people dressed, maybe some drag queens, whatever. Seems to kind of break the era, but it's what we'll go with it. Go with it here. Then some guys take a liking to her that she's dancing with. And as Frank, and also, by the way, I should mention that Christian Bale's portrayal of Frank, he's a meek, shy, quiet, like beta male. He's just but he's imbued with these powers, right? So as these two men attempt to essay her in an assault, Frank kills them in a gruesome way, and they're on the lam, running from the cops. And when Detective Jake Wiles enters the picture, he kind of has a suspicion of where they might be next. And where are they? In a movie theater. They're on the run, kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, and they're the kind of victims of crimes, pulled over by a cop who then they end up killing. So this crime spree that then breaks in the newspapers, that then inspires in the dumbest sequence in the movie with a series of spinning newspapers that say Riot Girls, another spinning newspaper, Violent Femmes, another spinning newspaper, and women all across the country are now staining their lips black, like the bride looks like, and going off and committing crimes for why? I don't know. They go off on their own crime sprees, killing people dressed like the bride. This is peak feminist propaganda. Like, even this movie went too far for Grace Randolph, who thought it's really, like, it's so out there. There's a whole conflict with Peter Sarsgaard, the detective, and Penelope Cruz, and the ending is laughable. Laughable. And it reminded me, I'm sitting here and I'm like, if I love the trailer. When you and I saw this at CinemaCon, I'm like, top of my list. Can't wait to see this. Top of my list. Looks amazing. And it is in many ways visually well directed. The script is like a student filmmaker in college who took a class in feminism made this. It's god awful. And I saw this with a packed audience. And you know what happened? Nothing. No one laughed. No one reacted. No one applauded. There was one person who applauded at the end. And I think they were kind of embarrassed. Like it was it. And it got me thinking, like, we're seeing movies now where people go to the movies and don't react. So many movies are mid or streaming. This should have been on streaming, that no one will react to these movies. And it's, oh my God, one of the worst movies of the year. But Alan, I want to hear what you think. What did you think? And did I miss any of I gave you the broad strokes of the story.
Yeah.
If you would add anything.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I mean, this is The Bride. It's a love story. If you think about it, it's about two souls who are now have to live life in isolation. Frankenstein, if you know that story, he's this monster. No one wants to be around him. He lives by himself. Also, if you remember, he is stitched together by other body parts. So he's a conglomeration of a lot of different people. And in contrast, you have the bride who is also resurrected from the dead, but she is her own body. They're able to keep her intact. And so there's this difference there, and that these two lost souls finally come together. And I have to say that if that was the movie, and they have just stuck with that story and explored that story, this movie would have been a million times better than it was.
Yeah.
But what they had to do, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, but this is Women's History Month.
Now I do.
Yeah. But they literally throw in every element of feminism that they could possibly imagine. The whole conflict between Peter Sarsgaard and Penelope Cruz. He's the doofus detective who has the assistant who knows everything.
Right.
I mean, she, girl boss right there. Yeah, sure. Jessie Buckley's character is crazy, but she is possessed by the spirit of Mary Shelley, which we get in. And, that was a weird choice to start the movie off with. But I was willing for a while to give it the benefit of the doubt. And then the movie just became what it became. The doctor is, of course, female. Basically every man in the movie is a beta male, a corrupt male, or there's not a positive male image except for possibly Christian Bale's character. And it's just you're getting whacked over the head. It's so on the nose that any semblance to be subtle is just not there within its messaging. And that's his biggest problem. We didn't want to tell the story of the bride. We wanted to tell a tale about feminism. And that's essentially what this movie is. The bride just happens to be a small part of that bigger picture.
Yeah, and you pointed out in your takedown, maybe a review, a takedown, there were too many ideas competing.
Yep.
And I really feel like for a movie to really, this level of movie to succeed, you've got to sort of settle on a couple themes, sort of major theme, and sort of something. There were too many ideas. There needed to be kind of settle on one overall theme. And if the feminism aspect was sort of a lower level subtext along with this love story, which I failed to mention, there's some, I don't want to say graphic, but nearly graphic sex scenes in it. There's maybe a little bit of light nudity. You see Jessie Buckley topless for a moment, but which is probably a body double. I didn't recall, but the sex scenes are kind of weird because the monster's body is so scarred and carved up and gross. Her body is mostly intact with the exception of her leg and whatnot. So it's just This movie was painful to watch.
Yeah.
Painful.
Well, you mentioned that scene of the women she inspired. I forgot what term you used, but that whole sequence. There's like 2 sequences pertaining to that, and one at the end. Just felt like it was added on at the last minute to kind of respond to the activism that is going on today. It felt like that they're just taking an opportunity to spur people on to resist authority, there just came this point where, as I said, what should have been a love story became a political story.
Yeah, and then also the fact that this movie was made for $90 million.
Wow.
Not a cheap film, and it's tracking to do 15 million opening weekend. This is a bomb for WB, and I'm sorry to say, it's going to put Maggie Gyllenhaal in what they call director's jail, which is when you make a movie that loses money. You know, that was your shot. You failed. You got to go away for a while. This is fully her vision. It's written and directed by her. Even the Mary Shelley thing, I kind of liked for a moment. Yeah. But it was like, because it was black and white, the sequences with her. There's even a nod to films like The Brain That Wouldn't Die or The Head That Wouldn't Die in there. And visually, it's very well done. So I would say, Maggie, for your next trick, your next movie, you can direct, but you should involve a real writer, I think, because it's amateurishly written. I mean, some of the lines I laughed out loud, not in a good way either. It was like I kept turning to my girlfriend, who turned to me in the middle of the movie, said, "This is really bad." And then we were just like, we could not run out of the theater fast enough.
I mean, it's so bad that even critics couldn't get beyond its, clear commentary. And that's the sad thing about it. This is commentary. This is not a story.
Yeah. Do you recommend The Bride?
No.
Hell no.
Yeah. But Film Threat does.
Yeah. Well, the written website, reviews on the website, we've got about 30 plus writers. We have a very diverse group of writers, various opinions on things. And the writer who wrote the review for the website liked the movie. Alan and I did not. Diversity of opinion. Let's go to your comments, and then we have a very special interview we're going to get to. Let's get to our comments.
Yeah. So give me one moment here.
Von Max.
From Von Max. Remember, for 12 months, Bride was awful, walked out. Protector was better. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
It's okay to laugh. -1 for 10. Have you guys seen the Spider-Man Maximum Carnage anime technical demo by Psyop Anime? It is leaps and bounds better than what Marvel is making now, and it's fan made.
I have not seen it. Thank you. It's okay to laugh for your generous 10. It's on my radar now, and I'll see it because I can search on YouTube.
Okay, not another name for 5. There will be a time when feminism will be uncovered as the greatest fraud in history.
Well, I think it's sort of layers of it. I think the modern sort of view of feminism is kind of filled with a rage and anger that is not productive towards the genders just getting along. So, yeah, make of that what you will. But thank you. Not another name.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that.
Aaron Sharman, I saw The Bride today. I was really into it. It was weird. I wasn't really into it. It was weird, nonsensical, pretentious, and too feminist. And worst of all, not very entertaining.
Yeah, you could include a lot of those ideas if it's entertaining, if it's satire, it's over-the-top feminism to make a point. I mean, any of the ideas could have worked. There were just he swung for the fences and failed. And Aaron Sharman, good to see you at the Critical Drinker. You were in the open bar chat.
Yeah.
You could have said something nice about me.
Yeah.
The drinkers chats, they really hate me. I don't know that I'll be back.
I don't know that I'll be back.
I don't know that they liked me either when I was. They don't like anyone.
Yeah.
The Chet at Drinker hates the guests.
I think they hate the Americans.
Yeah, they like Mueller, and the Drinker, they hate everyone else.
I have to say this about The Bride, though. I wanted to like this movie.
I wanted to also.
I was willing to give it a lot of latitude, and then I just couldn't. It was, to say that we go in wanting to hate films is just not true with this case.
Yeah.
Sir Dirty Dog, I got enough insatiable bitches in my life. Don't need another.
Yeah, well, there you go.
J Ham Stoneface. So Alan, not a fan of mansplaining.
Mansplaining. Oh, that's a good one. That's great. Hey, we've got 2 more films to review for the show. But guess what? We love to interview indie filmmakers when they've got movies out that we think need your attention, that you should know about. Put it on your radar. We would like to talk to them. And Paul Osborne is here to tell us about his latest film. Let's get him on the show. Hey, Paul, what's going on?
Hey, let's talk about The Bride some more.
No, God. I wanted to like it. I was there, but I don't know, just sort of struck. I don't think the audience I saw it with liked it either. But look, Paul, I've been a fan of your work for so many years. Your whole filmography.
Thank you.
You make these little indie movies that are so well written. It reminds me of how important the screenwriter is. Obviously, you began as a screenwriter, became a director in your own right, and your latest Fluorescent Beast, which is now, I think, is out today.
Yeah, it's out today.
Out today. Everyone can see it, and we're going to look at the trailer. But tell me what led to Fluorescent Beast. I want to know the story.
The story behind the movie?
Behind the movie, and then we'll talk about the movie.
Well, okay, so let's now try to bend your mind a little bit if you can picture this. So I'm an indie filmmaker, right? So I don't make a lot of money doing my art. So I've had to do other things for other people to make money while I do my art. And I made a film about a guy who has a job and he wants to make art.
Yeah.
Go figure that. Go figure. So yeah, no, it's all about working in corporate culture and kind of how it. I like to say that the plot of the movie is about a guy sent on a business trip and he's not told what it's about. He's told he's just sent on this, he has this amorphous corporate job. He's sent on this amorphous corporate business trip, and he's only given like small clues as to what he's supposed to actually be doing. But what I like to say the film is really about is how all the pressures of being an adult, like your job and all the responsibilities that layered on you, instead of being at the happenstance of modern living, it's actually a conscious conspiracy designed to crush your dreams, you specifically, your dreams, and eat your soul. And so that's what the film's really about. So I think anybody who's had to suffer in a 9-to-5 of any sort is going to appreciate the movie.
What I love about your movies is they are so relatable. There's subtext with all your films. Everything is so clever. I want to mention some of the other films because I met you when you made a movie called 10 Till Noon. Well, you were the screenwriter. You did not direct that one.
Correct.
And when I saw that film, it was back in 2005-ish. I saw that movie. I was blown away. That led to your second film, which was a documentary called Official Rejection, which I happen to be in, and I'm on the commentary for the DVD. Pick that up. Right. Like, give out my email and phone number like a moron. And
somebody pointed out that when you watch the DVD, there's a commercial for your book actually that pops up first.
That's
right. I had forgotten that. Someone just bought it and goes, "There's that commercial for the Chris Gore book." I'm like, "That's still on there." Wow. Okay. Because the thing's still in print.
I have a copy of the standard def DVD for Official Rejection. If you're a filmmaker considering taking your movie on the festival circuit, it's the best primer for what that experience is like, all the pitfalls. Then you made a movie called Cruel Hearts, which was, your movies are so, like, the writing is so intentional. The lines, I mean, these are, in my opinion, your filmography is the best written indie film work where it should inspire other filmmakers where, I mean, you don't make these big budget spectacular, although like 10 till noon, you make it as big as you can, but the writing is so present, it's so clever. And Fluorescent Beast fits into that. And what's the journey? I have the trailer. Actually, I found the trailer. I got it all queued up. I want to share it with our audience. Before we do that, like, what leads you to a project and your writing, and like you gave us a little tease of the story. We'll watch the trailer in a second, but they're so plotted out. I don't see writing this good in as many indie movies of this scale.
Oh, well, thank you, Chris. That means a lot because I'm a writer at my core. I mean, everything's a life support system for the writing for me. I don't know, man. I mean, I just, look, I've written bad scripts. I just don't make them.
Right. Okay.
It's like you write a pile of scripts and you fall in love with one or two, and you try to make those. That's really the name of the game. But I do try to think as completely as possible when writing. And it's all. If it's not right on the page, it shouldn't get to the stage in my world. So you're seeing the highlights, of course, but that's the whole idea. Like if the writing's not working, don't fix it or move on.
And before we watch the trailer, are those DVDs and books behind you? There's a giant.
Those are DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks. I'm in my media room. So I live in London now. And when we bought this house, the previous owners had converted the garage because it's kind of inaccessible from the alley. They converted it into a 300 square foot like rumpus room, and they built in 5.1 surround. So now it's my theater room. It's detached from the house, so you can watch Die Hard full blast at 4 a.m, and you're not disturbing anybody. No one can hear you in the house, asleep in the, through all the glass and doors and things. So this is the movies behind me. And then if I turn around, I've got drop my mic.
There you go.
Wow. Screen.
Nice.
5.1. Whoops, the mic is really falling. Hang on. Sorry.
Popcorn machine.
The mic totally went down. But technical difficulties. But over there, I got a catering sized popcorn machine, so I can make a full movie theater popcorn. Let me push the mic again.
Oh my God, that's my dream.
Got snacks and got the whole thing. So got a little. And my son and his friends come in here and clean me out every couple of days. So
love it. Hey, I got the trailer queued up, and it mentions that your movie is out on March 6th, which is
today.
Yeah,
it's on
there
all
it
the
is.
VOD.
Okay, wait. Let's watch it. Let me put it full screen, and we'll share this together. Here we go.
Your work is very important. Your work is very important. Your work is very important. Your work is very important.
Hey,
that's us.
Hey.
Your review calls us a masterpiece twice. I am milking the hell out of that. I am mining that till I die.
By the way, here is the 10 out of 10 review on the film.
10 out of 10 review.
10 out of 10. Yeah.
So I mean, again, I'm gonna ride that review till I'm in the ground, and even then some. So yeah, you guys called me the Bobby called us a masterpiece twice.
Yeah, it's well, your movies are so well, and I recommend people check out all your films. Official Rejection, 10 till noon.
Don't forget Favor.
Favor, yes, Favor. My God, Favor had the best movie poster too. I thought it was hilarious. And it's such your movies always begin with the most simple premise. And what I love is I'm like, well, let's start watching, because I watch a lot of indies. I watch the first 10 minutes. I am riveted. You know how to grab an audience. And 10 till noon, just so many if you want to see great writing, what you can do, which is where that's the thing, because we just talked about a movie that didn't have such great writing, visually looked amazing, spent a lot of money, and it really comes down to if the writing is amazing, you can make a movie at a low budget level and really engage people. So
yeah, I mean that's what grabs the brain.
how do you raise the money for your films to make them? How do you go about the casting process for Fluorescent Beast?
Well, the money's different every time, but fortunately, I make them at very low budgets. So usually we can just kind of start, and the money finds us, and we find enough to get the movie made. So with Favor, we crowdfunded that entire movie. No one else came on board, and so but then that was financially really successful. It was like outside successful. So after that, like some money people actually kind of found us, and we were able to. So we go to them, and they, here's 10. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but yeah, the money, you start moving, and people like your work. They'll write you a check, which is nice. And again, I don't make them. I was having a discussion last night with Vivian Kerr, is a friend of mine, and she's made films she made a couple of really good movies, but they're in the hundreds of thousands. And she's like, I really need to make them in the tens of thousands, because that's what we do. So it's much easier to raise. It's easier to raise $50,000 than to raise $500,000.
But I mean, what you have done with these small budgets is an inspiration. I say to anyone in our audience, we've got like over 1,000 people watching live right now, that take a look at Paul's work, not just Fluorescent Beast, but Favor, and all your other films. They're so simple in the story. They're so simple but you grab the audience in the first minute, the first page, you're just like, well, I have to see what happens next. And that to me is like, when you've got me, is like, what happens next? What about that? What happens next? What happens next? You're setting up. They're just so well plotted.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate. And then you have to come to us every time to get reviewed and be interviewed. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And,
you gotta go to Film Threat.
Yes,
you guys are doing the thing, man. You're the place. You're the place where indies go. You're the place where you got to go if you're an indie filmmaker. So come on.
But you're the real deal, because the budget levels you do it, and you're so focused on like what really makes an engaging movie. I mean, I didn't know Bobby gave it that review. That's great. I mean, because I saw when you first finished it, I was like, oh wow, let me know when it's released. We'll talk about it. And here we are.
Yeah. Well, we did a theatrical run. We had trouble finding distribution. We had a theatrical run in summer of 2024.
Right.
So, and then we were sort of looking for a distributor that wouldn't rape us. That was really that was really the thing. And actually,
you're not the first person to use that phrasing.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely true. I have many discussions with it's really bad right now. So then I looked, so well, okay, if we can't find a proper digital distributor right now, let's look for a physical media distributor. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of really great and honorable ones. The problem is most people want either bigger movies on physical media or they want older movies on physical media. Like if I made a film in 1983 on my camcorder, I'd have an easier time getting a Blu-ray remastered disc edition than a newer movie, because there's an audience, the audience for physical media really wants to kind of reach back to older films, to rediscover things. They're real cinephiles, and they don't want to watch The Bride. They don't, they want to reach back to see things like Night of the Juggler, which is the 1980 film with James Brolin, which just got a remaster, which is a terrific movie that I'd never heard of until a few weeks ago. So we did that. We had trouble finding. We're still looking for a physical media distributor. So any boutique labels out there that want to put us out, give me a holler.
Yeah, I know of one.
Okay, we'll talk.
Anchor Bay Entertainment.
Are they back?
They're back. In fact,
all right.
Let me just show you an old film of mine.
I love it.
I'll put myself. I'm going to switch spots here.
Oh, Big Fat Independent Movie,
which was out when 10 Till Noon was out. That's how I met you. They are re-releasing my Big Fat Independent Movie in a Blu-ray edition.
Oh,
all
great.
the extras combined from both. There are more extras on this DVD. The Blu-ray is coming out. In fact, they might even put out red. Believe it or not.
Wow,
And we're
the
gonna
Lawrence
we're gonna
Tierney
do-
movie.
We will
Yeah.
do a screening in theaters of My Big Fat. Might happen this. We're working on dates, but I'll email you after, give you the guy's contact information because
Please,
he'll
yes.
be interested in your back catalog if any are available.
They're all available except Cruel Hearts.
Okay,
Cruel Hearts
we'll
is
have
still
an-
tied up. Cruel Hearts is actually on Blu-ray, and they're still tied up with that distributor. So
Gotcha.
the others are
Well,
all free.
We'll talk, offline, as they say. But let's go
Great.
to we have comments and questions from our
Oh, yeah,
audience.
great.
Let's go. Unless Alan wants to.
Oh no, I'm good.
You
I'm
gotta
just
see this.
fascinated
Well,
by
you gotta see it. Okay, here we go.
Hey, Alan, it's available today on VOD. You can rent or buy it on iTunes. Or
I mean, the only question
Amazon
I have
or-
is it feels like for indie films, the distribution is the nut to crack.
Yeah.
The final nut
It
to
is.
crack.
It is. What we ended up doing was ended up putting it out ourselves through Bitmax. And honestly, the terms we got are insanely good. And it's the same lab we would have gone through if we'd gone with Gravitas or one of the other bigger indie distributors, and they don't get to control our movie for the next 15, 20 years. So it's kind of nice. So we have a lot of control. I'm actually been very happy with them so far.
All right. From MK Solid, that's a lot of physical media.
Nice.
That is, yes. And there's I don't want to knock my mic over. There's more over here. There's more over here on the thing. I got the big display pieces. Like I got the big Battlestar Galactica Cylon head, and I got the big Friday the 13th box set from
love
Shout
that.
Factory, and I got the Evil Dead Book of the Dead, I believe from Anchor Bay, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
The Planet of the Apes. I have a whole the whole Twin Peaks thing. The whole Twin Peaks thing over there.
All right. Tim is not funny asks or says, I can't find any screenings of Fluorescent Beast. Where can I see it?
It's no longer screening in theaters, unfortunately. It is on iTunes, Amazon, YouTube Movies, and Google Play.
Yeah.
It's on all of those to rent or buy. And I think the cheapest I've seen it is actually Google Play. It's also discounted right now on iTunes as well. But it's not you can own it for less than $10 on all of these. But I think the rental's the rental's really cheap. So we're priced it to move, baby.
All right. ADL's 24. This film premiered in 2023. What has the journey to the public release in 2026 been like?
Oof.
What lessons have you learned during that time period about the business and your own craft?
Yeah, the journey was finding a distributor. that was the thing, and finally kind of carving out a way we could do it on our own. So that was really the journey. And it's so every time, you mentioned my filmography, there's a few years in between each one of those things, and distribution changes really quickly. Someone wanted to finance me making a documentary about distribution, and I said by the time the documentary is finished, all the information would be out of date and incorrect. It changes really quickly. So right now, there's a major vacuum in the indie film distribution space for streaming. For physical media, it's pretty good. There's a lot of good boutique labels out there, more popping up all the time. But for streaming, it's rough. So that's the big lesson that I've learned is, going through all these contracts and being like, wow, they really, even distributors that I used to work with, who I've made money for, I get the new contract and they've made the terms so steep against the filmmaker that it's just like, I'm not going to give you my film forever and make no money. Like I'd rather set the film on fire. I'd rather burn my movie in a parking lot than do that. This parasitic. And the thing is, they're still doing the same thing they did for you, the aggregator days, early days of streaming, where you guys, as filmmakers, are responsible for the marketing and the advertising and everything else. We're just going to place the movie. That's all we're going to do. And that's all they still do, most of these distributors, but they're charging you as if they're doing all the marketing and all the advertising. And they say, oh, we do marketing. All they do is they post it on their Instagram account once. So we're at a point where something's got to give. And if some new distributors are going to step up and if an honest distributor stepped up, they could own the space because there's nothing there. Otherwise, most filmmakers, like I mentioned my friend Vivian earlier, we're all turning to kind of the self-distribution route, and you have a lot more control. And honestly, we're using the same tools that distributors are using. We don't need them anymore to do that aggregation thing. We can do it directly.
So is self-distribution getting easier then?
I mean, there's still not as many doors, but it's yes. You basically you can go straight. But basically, if you go with a distributor like Gravitas, they use Bitmax as their lab. So they take your movie and they take it to Bitmax, and Bitmax does all the work encoding it and placing it and delivering it and doing all the things and reporting and gathering the money. All that stuff's done by Bitmax, right? So it used to be that the filmmaker couldn't go straight to a lab like Bitmax. They had to go through Gravitas, who would slap a logo on it, and they would, put it out there. But now you can bypass them and just hire Bitmax directly, and you get 100% of the revenue the film makes.
Yeah.
And it's a 3-year term, and it's non-exclusive. So we have a lot of control over the movie, the control that Gravitas would have. So if someone like Gravitas isn't bringing anything to the table, why go with them? And honestly, and there's no difference in what we're doing. Gravitas, they have a relationship with some of these platforms, so they can maybe get you better placement. But beyond that, there's really not a lot they're giving you for what they're taking.
Yeah,
Let's go to
you do all the work, they keep all the money.
Yeah, and they're charging like $40,000 against the movie, which is absolutely insane. Like for what? And they charge you for I still have 2 movies with them, and they charge us every month for their like drive storage of the movies. Like that's the cost of doing business. Like you wouldn't have hard drives, you wouldn't have servers if I didn't sign with you. You would just have no servers. Like
ridiculous.
That's like charging me for turning your lights on, or or your rent, like on your office space. Like no, that's not okay. And that's actually violating my contract every time they do that, and they do it every single quarter. Wow, I'm gonna have they're gonna be calling me. I'm gonna get an angry email tomorrow from Gravitas. But guys, when I have 2 films with them, the first film I had with them, Favor, was so successful, they took me out to lunch in Beverly Hills. Like that's how much money we made for them, and the relationship was so good. And the last time when Fluorescent Beast was out on the circuit, they contacted me, and they didn't have any idea who hey, maybe you've heard of us. I'm like, I'm one of your stable filmmakers. Like you literally tell your acquisitions guy to see if I'm, it should be a different relationship if I have 2 films with you already, one of which made a lot of money for you. So now I'm on my soapbox. Now you got me all angry.
There you go. We got a lot of questions.
Go see Fluorescent Beast.
Here we go. Bring out the gimp ass. Paul, what are those posters hanging on your wall?
Oh, let's see. We got for the cinema room, we got Foxy Brown, Moulin Rouge, Psycho, Jaws, The Graduate, Sunset Boulevard, Clockwork Orange. And I've got the Killers over there, the old Don Siegel movie, and I've got Fight Club over there, and I've got Goodfellas over there, but you can't really see them. So I bought these in Camden Market in London. They're just this cute little size, and I got the frames at IKEA for like £2, and there you go.
And I bet your son's friends has never seen any of those movies.
A couple of them have, but most of my son's friends are like, well, I don't know, man. But the weird thing is my son brought them over here to watch Fluorescent Beast. They're all 15. They're all these 15-year-old British schoolboys. And and they've watched it multiple times. Like they're nerding out about the movie. It's kind of fun.
Amazing. All right. Caveat Ties, how did you gather your crew?
Well, fortunately, I've made a number of films, so I kind of go back to the same crew over and over. I have kind of a team that I like to work with, which is really nice. A lot of them are for referrals. A lot of them, well, actually, I gathered a lot of them originally when we first crowdfunded Favor. I mentioned that film was crowdfunded, and people I knew in the film business wrote me to volunteer because they saw the campaign. Oh, you're making a film? When? I'll give you 3 weeks. I'll give you 2 weeks. I'll do this. I'll hold a light. I'll do sound. I'll do this. So that was kind of how it started. And then that's how I found like my costumer, and that's how I found like one of my producers, and just over time, you kind of gather your people. I guess people like working with me because they'll keep coming back for really terrible pay. So they keep returning to me. So I guess that's how I did it. So unfortunately, I call them all friends. Like it's really nice to work with people you like.
Yeah. Christopher Moonlight Productions asks, question for Mr. Osborne. I'm having a debate with a friend about back history. I feel it can easily derail a story, and you should only know enough about the character that relates to their goals. Thoughts?
I kind of agree with you. I think you should I think you should have the backstory there. I think you should know the backstory. I don't think you necessarily need it to be in the film, though. I think it's like it should be there if you need it, if that makes sense. Like, but yeah, I don't think you don't need to get into a lot of backstory on someone as long as it's clear who they are. You know, as long as the audience knows who they're watching. You don't need to get deep into it. But sometimes it's helpful for you as the writer if you know the backstory, even if it never appears on screen, even if it never makes its way into the screenplay. I kind of like the idea of saying, like, if you have a story, it's like a dark room full of stuff and just a bunch of things. And when you're telling the story, you got a flashlight, and the flashlight's just shining on. And so you can see the things the flashlight's shining on, but you can't see anything else, right? But if you moved it this way or this way, it wouldn't be empty space. You'd see more stuff there, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think you don't necessarily need the backstory on screen, but if you know it, it helps.
All right, Davina Duckworth, did you work a corporate job for research?
I was I was working as a writer at CBS at the time. So yeah, for CBS Paramount. So yeah, I did.
That was very corporate.
Yeah. And my parents are both accountants. So I've glimpsed corporate office cubicle life most of my childhood when I would go see them and be like, this is. But yeah, actually, it's funny. Some of the film is shot at CBS covertly. So the main character's office at CBS, that's actually that was my office as a writer at CBS. And I just, like, on a Friday night, I stayed late and I redressed the office for the movie. I got rid of all the CBS paperwork. I put in all our dummy paperwork. I rearranged the computers and put all the things in place. And I brought the equipment in, and then I left that night. And then on Saturday, we came back with the crew, and no one was there, and we shot. And then on Monday morning, I came in early, and I put everything back. And
wow.
And no one was. We shot. There's a scene where he goes into he goes into the desert, and he gets into I won't explain why. It sounds random, and it totally is. And he goes into an underground bunker of sorts. And it's this labyrinthian, it's this little shed, but you go inside, it's this labyrinthian bunker. And the bunker is actually Television City, formerly CBS Television City. And we're walking past all the set dressing for, like, The Bold and the Beautiful. And Eddie Jemison has a cameo in the film as the keeper, which is in our trailer. And he's standing in the hallway outside the Price is Right dressing rooms. And there's a scene where the big corporate boss, played by Patrick Day, is in his big conference room, his big corporate conference room. And it's actually the CBS executive boardroom at CBS Television City.
And last question right here.
From ADLS24, during the period of time getting this film out to the public, have you been writing and planning your next directorial effort? What stage of getting that project off the ground are you at?
Okay, good question. I am writing. I'm in the going into the second draft phase of the script is where I'm at with that. But yeah, so that's working on that now. I really like this script. I think it will work. And so once that's done, it's off to the actors that I want to use. If they say yes, then we set a start date, and hopefully we're shooting by the end of the year. And it will be shot here in London.
Wow. Well, congrats, Paul. Fluorescent Beast is out today on digital, yes. Google Play, YouTube, iTunes. Get the film, rent it, buy it, whatever, and check out your back catalog, Paul Osborne.
Thank you so much. I think most of them are on, almost all of them are on Amazon. And I think Cruel Hearts is on Tubi. I think Favor's still on Tubi. It might be, it might not be, but they're all, you can get them all on Amazon if nothing else. So
and hopefully physical media in the near future.
And yes, and you can probably track down 10 Till on DVD on eBay really cheap. For some reason, there are, even though it's out of print, there's thousands of copies, new shrink wrap copies floating around. The distributor had like 50,000 extra, and they just sold them to some like liquidator who, that company that puts those big piles of movies in like convenience stores. Yeah. And so whenever I go to eBay, there's like, those sellers have like, we have 100 of them. So.
Well, get it. Official rejection too. Strongly recommend that.
Yes. And that's still in print on Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon. It's now an MOD, but you can still, made on demand, but you can still get it on DVD. And it still has your commercial, Chris, right at the top.
Oh, that's great. I'll take it. I mean, I look, I did 4 editions of that book, but I stopped doing it. You know why? By the time I read a book, it's out of date in terms of the info. So it's like, well, you can get all this online basically. So I did 4 editions. They're still around, but yeah, I can't thank you enough for all your support, Paul. It's been amazing.
Oh man, and likewise, thank you for yours. Like, what are we doing right now? I love this.
Yeah, well, you approached me and I'm like, well, when does the movie come out? Well, let's do the interview that day.
Yeah,
so it'll be perfect.
totally.
Cool. All right.
Perfect.
Well, it's much
Thanks,
later
Paul.
for you there. Enjoy the rest of your evening,
Thank you,
and
sir.
hit me up when you've got another movie, if not before.
I will. I'll hit you up before. I think that's a good idea.
Awesome.
And I'll hit you up about Anchor Bay, actually.
Oh yeah. Email me. I'll hook you up with their people, so to speak. See how this happens, folks? Trying to help people.
It's the
out.
magic. You're watching networking and promotion at the same time.
Exactly. All right. Take care, Paul. Congrats on
Thank
the
you
movie.
so much. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, Alan.
Well, there we go. Look,
That's
how do you
great.
get so small?
I know.
With that. Hey, we have more stuff to talk about. And I really want to talk about this. I have a little bit, I have something of a rant. You're not going to want to leave for this. It's time for a Gore rant.
A freaking IKEA chair.
A lot of little movies opened at the theater, and this one came out. I was about to go see this movie, and I watched the trailer. And can I just say, there's a weird reason I kind of decided maybe I'll see this movie another time. We're going to watch the trailer for this film together. And I want you to maybe figure out why the movie just somehow didn't grab my interest. And it should. It's called Youngblood. I love hockey. I grew up watching the Detroit Red Wings. I'm a Detroit fan, but check out the trailer for this movie.
What I need you to understand is that nobody's offering you any free handouts. The hockey will teach you what you need to survive in this world. But you gotta work 3 times harder than the next man.
How's that taste, boy?
You don't work too long and hard for you to let anybody take this from you.
Hamilton Mustangs. They're calling up 2 players to fight for 1 spot. This is Dean's only shot to get back on the radar.
Let's go.
You got good wheels, man. We could have used you like 30 games ago.
You got to take me down? You want to go, Rook? Well, because you can't. Hey!
Trying to get yourself a second suspension out there or what? The Mustang on your chest is way more important than the name on your back. Clear?
Clear. My dad's been telling me this story my whole life.
They're letting me play, huh? I'm talking to you. Am I supposed to know you, bro? This is going to be fun.
I think I always got to keep my guard up. You never know who's going to stand in your way.
You don't know how many guys come through this league scoring fancy goals and then disappear?
You've been looking for a reason to send me home from jump. Look, we all want to play so bad. Then you realize that you have to play it according to their rules.
Hey!
You actually have the chance to go far with this sport, and you're wasting it all.
Go out there and give them hell.
Yes, ma'am. We can only teach what we know.
If you're going to lose, you lose right. You don't lose to yourself. Straight out of Motor City, Youngblood! Let's go!
I worked my whole life for this.
Now, ultimately, this movie would have interested me. I like hockey. I like sports movies. There's something about it. I feel like I've seen this movie before. I feel like I've been seeing this movie since I was a kid. And when the character in the film said, boy, I just felt I was out. And I'm just going to do this. I want to issue a challenge. I call it the Black Filmmaker Challenge. Tell me a story that doesn't involve racism. Tell me a story. It can be a black character. It can be an all black cast. But I just feel like there are so many great stories about great Black Americans through history that could be told. Do they all have to focus on racism and the same thing? I want to see great black, they'd say black stories, black storytellers. Yes, but do you have to tell the same story every time? There is so much more to the Black experience. And I only know this because, yes, I have very good Black friends. I don't think of them as Black friends. I think of Dante or Derek Anderson as just my friends. And when I look at even my own family, I have a stepsister who happens to be Black, a stepbrother who happens to be Black. There is, I believe, more to the Black experience than constant racism being part of the story. And so I say to you, please, I want to hear your stories. But does this topic enter every story? And that movie where I would have been predisposed to see it, I mean, I've seen that story told so many times. And that's all I have to say about that. I may, in fact, end up going to see the film Youngblood. Alan, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but it really got me angry because we talk about racism so much as it applies to politics, with politicians trying to divide us. The media, they love to divide us, but we have so much more in common. And I'm tired, boss. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. There are different stories to be told. I mean, different, more human stories. You know, we just had Black History Month. Well, Black history is American history. We don't have to, it seems like racism was in short supply in the sort of by the late 80s, 90s. It was just less present. Yes, not going to ignore certain events of the 90s for sure. But my God, I don't remember. And even the movie Eddington addressed racism in a really interesting way, because BLM begins to happen in the small town. And even amongst the sheriffs, they're like, I didn't even really think you were Black until all this BLM stuff happened. There are better and more interesting stories to be told. And I want to see them. And that's all I'll say. There's my rant. Alan, do you have any comments?
Yeah. I mean, look, we just talked about The Bride, and the toxic masculinity has to be the story of all female-driven tales. I was speaking to one of the winners of the LGBT award, this awards. And my biggest praise to him was the fact that you didn't tell a coming out story. You told a story that was thoughtful, that was deep, and it wasn't about you being in the closet and having to hide this secret you've been carrying for a long time. No, it's just, thankful. I mean, weirdly enough, Pillion was that way. It wasn't this coming out story. But in terms of your question, what was the last Black movie that didn't deal with it? It was Medea's Destination Wedding.
It was just funny.
Yes,
yeah, exactly. But even I'll tell you this, in college, one of my closest friends who also happened to be Black, he didn't, quote from him, he didn't like making movies. He was Black himself. He didn't like putting Black people in his films. He used white actors. He's a student filmmaker. White actors. He said white actors white people, he said, are like generic people. You can just tell a story. As soon as you have black people in your film, somehow you are almost obligated to address race. Why? And I say to black filmmakers out there, you don't always have to address race in every story. You can just tell a human story. It doesn't have to be a part of every story.
Yeah.
And
You know what I find?
I'm trying to be positive in a way of like, I want to hear, I'm being told the same story every time. And to me, it like adds more and more fuel to division. It's sad for me to see. You know, I thought as a kid watching Star Trek, we'd be over this stuff. It's worse than ever.
And now it's back in Star Trek.
And now it's back in Star Trek, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it there. It's something that is troublesome to me because you and I go out of our way to go see a lot of diverse films. And we tell you about the ones that are very clever. We'll tell you about the ones that probably aren't worth your time. But man, I just saw that trailer. I said, I don't know. I love hockey, and recently went to an LA Kings game last weekend. I was pumped. And it just I feel like I can predict everything that's going to happen in the movie. Yeah. I know what's going to happen because of what the focus is.
Yeah.
I don't thoughts, Alan, won't move on.
Yeah, it's interesting to me now that I think about this, but the only type of people or person who can make a movie that's not about racism or anything like that is basically white men. Because even Hollywood will pigeonhole you. Oh, you're a female director, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Well, you need to make a feminist movie. Or you're a black filmmaker. You need to make a movie about the black struggle in America. You know, if you're Asian, you got to make an Asian movie. If you're Hispanic, you got to make a Hispanic movie or Latino movie. It's like, even Hollywood has this passive racism that says, these are the only kind of movies you can make. I think of only one black filmmaker that really, to me, has been able to break that, and that's Anton Fuqua. He did the Equalizer series. Those were nothing about race. It was Denzel Washington as the Equalizer from the TV show. He's doing the Michael series. He's telling a story about Michael Jackson. As much as race is a part of it, it's not about race. It's about Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 and that family. I mean, is he the only one who seems to have broken that? I'll bring up Sinners just for a second, but it's interesting to me that in Sinners, the least racist people in that movie were the vampires. It was like being part of the vampire community, and there was like being a part of a church, and they accepted everybody. I don't know if that was intentional or if there was any thoughts behind it, but I just found it interesting that was, that's who they chose to be the most, the least racist and accepting people. And they wanted to make you immortal and suck your blood and things like that too.
I just think there are so many other great stories that can be told, and they remain untold. And this is really only an issue in Hollywood films, movies coming from Hollywood, but we see it in a lot of indie movies. It's almost like, and especially with young female directors, kind of feel like they have to make a statement about where they stand on certain things.
Yeah.
It makes everything boring. It makes everything boring when the identity of the filmmaker, whether black or Asian or a female, you almost like you're required,
right? Because you're female, you can only make this kind of a movie,
or only say,
or
say certain things in movies.
Right.
You can't have an original thought, or just tell a story where you explore ideas, but they're not the main theme. So I just that trailer just it exhausted me.
Yeah, I mean it's really, unless you're not white, if you're not white and you want to make a movie, it has to be an agenda movie.
Well,
and that just limits you in terms of being able to tell any kind of a story.
I just, please, no more box checking. Tell original stories that appeal to everyone, because I guarantee this movie, by the way, Youngblood is not playing wide. It's only in a few theaters. It's not wide. It's smattering here and there. And that's very telling that the release is not bigger for a movie like that. I think the way they chose, and it's very possible that racism is not a big part of Youngblood in terms of the story and the movie. It's very possible, but it felt like it from the trailer. And that is like, do I need to see another movie like this? And my answer is no. If our audience wants me to go see it, I will go see it. But for me, last night after the Pride, I said, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Let's go to some comments about this.
All right, ADL is 24. They ruined a hockey classic by making it about racism. Is this like a true story or a movie already made?
Yeah, it's a true story.
Okay, Kevin Appel. Oh no, they didn't. They turned it into racism movie. I love the original. Hard pass on this. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, you're the only black person to enter a white sport. You know, you're gonna have to work hard at it. But when you make it about racism, that's where we're getting it. Gamer Gramps for 5. Have you talked about the Pinocchio Unstrung trailer?
Yes, in fact, we did on our live stream on Wednesday. It's at the very beginning, or we're going to clip it so you'll see it on the channel. Thank you, Gamer Gramps.
Matthew Hammond for 2. What stories are we missing out on because of this?
Exactly. I want to see something original. Do you know how many great black stories there are through American history, or stories of black Americans that made something of themselves, that have insane, crazy stories of success? The United States of America has more black millionaires than anywhere in the world. What does that tell you? We're missing out on a lot. Thank you, Matthew.
And Skeleton King for 5. Jordan Peele made some good movies, but how many are about racism? As a POC, I agree. I'm tired of the racism stories. I just want good stories.
What if I post on X the Black Filmmaker Challenge and I just make my statement? How do you think that?
I'll tell you, Asians have gone there. Celine Song made The Materialists.
Yeah,
all white cast, written and directed by an Asian woman.
And it didn't have to be all white. You could have mixed it up, whatever. But it's just a story.
Yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once wasn't about white oppression of Asians. It was, look, follow our example. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Skeleton King, thank you so much.
Press M to start for 2. Sup, my dudes. Hope all is well.
Hey, Press M, how's it going?
Let's see. Press M to start. I'll let you know if it sucks. New show I'm doing.
Oh, thanks. Oh, that's right. Youngblood was an 80s movie with Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, and Keanu Reeves. Thanks, A.D. Ellis.
Yeah. Which one played the
black?
Forgot
about that.
Bill S. Preston Esquire. Dante James has talked about how tired he is of these stories, how that 99% of the stories that get put out about black characters.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I can tell you that's why gay people don't watch gay movies. It's always coming out stories.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like you have to tell these. Fat Roller, Oppression on Ice.
Well, there you go. And do we want to talk about Starfleet Academy or just save it for Versus?
You could talk a little bit about it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Starfleet Academy episode 9 is here. It's a 2-part story. And it's coming full circle from the beginning. Caleb is going to find his mom.
First of all, did we make this poster or is this what they produced?
That's what they produce.
So dumb.
Effectively, through the help of Sam, who is a very different version of Sam now, helps Caleb track down messages from his mother who's been messaging him for 2 years. Sam figures it out in about 30 seconds how to find his mom, and he finds his mom. He needs to steal a shuttle and take it out during warp speed, in which he might die because he'll have a chance to go to. I don't know why he can't wait and go on a mission or tell his superiors who might be able to help him. He somehow needs to do this secretly and covertly.
By the way, there's a bigger problem here.
Yeah.
I've mentioned many times that if this story was true, the Federation is doomed, because teenagers are able to hack anything the adult Federation
It's kind of dumb
security protocols put in place.
Yeah, it's stupid. So there you go. In any case, Caleb then recruits all of his friends, basically the main cast of Starfleet Academy. They grab the shuttle and head to the planet to save his mom, who they track down very easily. Barely an inconvenience.
In minutes, yes.
In fact, she's the one that finds him. It's stupid, like everything in this show. Of course, they're put in danger. They bring her back. They're admonished for their efforts, but of course, never punished for just breaking the rules. I'm so done with this show. I don't know where to start. Alan, you saw it. It ends on a cliffhanger because what's his name? Nas Baraka's back with some
but he's not.
What? Well, not in this episode, but he basically has trapped the Athena outside of Federation space.
Yes.
They're trapped. It's god awful. It's dumb. It's, it's galaxy ending. Alan, what'd you think of episode 9?
Yeah. I mean, I think of episode 9 like I think of all of them. I don't know how these people, A, call themselves writers, and B, got themselves a job on one of the biggest franchises in the world. Look, the way that Nas Baraka is able to basically capture the Athena, or the Athena's crew and the captain and all that stuff through something called the Omega molecule, which is something very scientific. I'm sure they're studying it right now at MIT and other places. The depth of the show is so shallow. It's you watch it and you just realize that television is doomed.
Well, I would just say, if you watch any episode of the old Next Gen, Trek, Deep Space Nine, watch the worst episode of Next Gen is better than the best episode of this show.
Yeah.
And I think the based on the large nature of the story they'll tell in this 2-part story, episode 9 ends on a cliffhanger. Assume it will be resolved in episode 10, which is the final episode of the series
of season 1. Let me just throw in my problem with this show is the pretentiousness of the writing.
Yeah.
Captain Aki, someone asked me where does communism work, and I go, communism 100% works in fiction. And that's what this is. This is fiction. And so because we're making this up, everything we do is the greatest thing ever. And so the writers believe that they've created the greatest character ever in Captain Aki here, played by Holly Hunter. And they just assume there's just this pretentiousness that comes behind it. And so you listen to her dialogue and everything she says, and she's the bestest this and the bestest that. And, you watch it and it just feels inauthentic. It feels shallow, and it feels like it could never happen in real life. And then you just go down the line of every character, everything here. There's this family thing with the Klingon and Caleb not being able to drink the thing, and everyone's saying, Caleb, come on, he's your friend. And this is the biggest problem I have with this. episode is how basically anti-family is. Every parent of every child and attending Starfleet Academy are horrible people, and the only family that you could truly have nowadays are your friends, because they will keep you safe and they will help guide you in life. In fact, they will mold your philosophy of life, and then they will get you to do and act in certain ways that they want you to. It's just, this is the modern manipulation of young people to get them into some kind of activism in life, and it'll probably get them killed at the end.
Well, we will stick with it until the end, and when we get the conclusion of this story, I don't expect much. Let's go to comments as we wrap up.
All right. Gamer Gramps, Az calls her Holly Hunter.
Oh, that's good.
I remember when I used to have respect for Holly Hunter as an actor.
Yeah, she's bad in this.
English Batchers gives it 5 Film Threat memberships.
Oh, thank you, English Batchers.
The Introspect M, this show is going to be a case study in writing failure. That and the accolade.
100%.
Yeah. Mob, y'all want us come and rescue my mom? Sure.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. That's how dumb this is.
That's how creative they are.
Yeah. I want to thank our mods today. Show went a little long. MK Solid, Lord Thoth, ADL is 24, Ololique, Glenuccio, Atomic Lori. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. We will be back on Monday with Versus. Guess what we're talking about?
Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, you guessed correctly.
Yeah, and let me guess, no one will see The Bride.
I think The Bride, the box office is looking at like 15 million for a $90 million movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of sad. So there you go. Anyways, Alan, we'll be back. Thank you so much to everyone out there. We appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Monday, we're back. Alan?
Let's get out of here.